What's up, everyone? I'm back. We're here to chat with another great performer, exciting busker that's part of the upcoming Port Credit Busker Fest, which is happening on August 16th, 17th, and 18th. Today, I'm chatting with someone I call a friend. Maybe he might not call me a friend. We'll see about that. Julio, he's the founder of the USA Breakdancers. And I just want to brag about him a little bit. Read his bio. The legendary and award-winning USA Breakdancers are reuniting and coming back to Port Credit. Yes, that's right. It's the original members coming to perform their high energy and comedic show that's been loved and is loved by millions and requested by more. This performance will bring nostalgia to those who have seen them and amaze those who will be watching for the first time. So the USA Breakdancers are coming to Port Credit August 16th, 17th, and 18th. And we are going to be chatting with Julio. I'm just sending part of Port Credit Busker Fest in the past. He's been a part of the Toronto Busker Fest. So we're going to ask Julio some questions.
Gotta make sure I'm in. He's
And I
good.
think he has joined us. What's up, Julio?
Hey.
I recognize you.
Yes, sir.
How are you? How have you been?
Not bad, man.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us. I know you're a busy individual.
Age is catching up, but it's all good.
No, you look great. You look great. I'm excited that you're coming to Port Credit. I've met you before. I've hung with you. We've had a bev. I'm excited that you're coming back to Port Credit. Are you?
Yeah, we are. We're excited about coming back and just having a little reunion with the crew. You know what I mean? I wanted to get the whole crew, but Will is out there in Australia. It's a pretty long commute for a festival. So we have Cuba and we have Minnie and myself coming back.
I have some friends of mine that are watching this one, and one particular person is watching. Alina, do not leave this broadcast. This is the individual that I've been talking your ear about. This is Julio from the USA Breakdancers. So I want to rewind a little bit, Julio. Who inspired you? Like, how did this even start for you? Like, what kind of got that sort of goosebump that made you want to perform and start this in the first place?
I grew up in the Bronx in the 80s, so pretty much everyone in the Bronx was doing some kind of street dance, either breaking, popping, locking. So I grew up in the era where it just, from the very, very beginning. And so I kind of caught the bug, just going from place to place and people recognizing my unique style of street dance. It's a little different than most people, where I added a little bit of kind of like a comedic edge to it, even coming up as a street dancer in the neighborhood, not just on stage or on the streets, but just in the neighborhoods. I was kind of like a clown dancing, street dancing. So that style, I gained some notoriety in the neighborhood for that unique style of street dancing.
I know I'm kind of going to go all over the place because I'm excited to talk to you because I've had so many conversations with you, and anytime we'd be in a room with you and you would start telling us stories, like I literally would have goosebumps on my arms from some of the stories that you would tell me of your career. The one thing I'm curious about is when you first started this, like how did people around you think about what you were doing, whether it be family members, close friends? Like, did they buy in right away, or were they kind of like, "What's this guy doing?" at first?
So when I first started doing street shows, or when I just started dancing, period?
I mean, both, really.
Well, again, in the 80s, this was the thing, was in, but only a few people really stood out. But there were hundreds, maybe thousands of dancers in New York City. So in the neighborhoods, it was just a thing that we did. I just happened to stand out a little more amongst the street dancers, and not just me. There are other dancers out there as well that stood out because their styles were a little different. We that actually gave me the bug because I was getting a lot of attention. I was kind of like a little celebrity in my neighborhood, And when you were a celebrity, in the South Bronx in the 80s, that's a pretty big deal. You protected from the gangs, you protected from a lot of things. Not to say that nothing won't happen to you, but it was less likely that something would happen to you because people had your back because they liked what you did. You were like a star, you know what I mean? And they can hang out with you and you know, they snatch up all the chicks that are around you, whatever it is, for whatever reason they want to be around you because you drew a lot of attention to them. So that's what gave me the bug. People knew me in the Bronx in a tough environment, you know. So I really didn't have to fight for myself. I didn't have to do all that stuff. I kind of I was a ghetto celebrity, you know. But then for street performing was just circumstances. We were very poor, and I found out I can make some money dancing on the street, and that helped with putting food on the table. I'm coming from a single parent home. My mother raised five of us. I was the youngest, and it was the circumstances that made me get out there and start dancing for money. I didn't say to myself I'm going to go down and go make money. I just happened to be in an area where there was big shopping centers and all that stuff in the Bronx, a place in Bronx called Fordham Road, and people start throwing money at me and my little crew that I had at the time, and we realized, shit, we can make money doing this. We could, so we took the show downtown and started learning how to hit, learning how to do street shows. Met other dance groups that were down there already established. They knew the routes, they knew the routine, they knew the times. When theaters came out, they knew it, that they had their whole hustle down there, and we just kind of connected with them and learned the ropes, became good at it.
That actually segues to my next question. Like, do you remember how early on in your career, or how old you were maybe, when you got that first paycheck that you felt good about, or not necessarily paycheck, or at least that first time when you started making money, where you're like, oh, I'm having fun and making a few bucks as well. Like, do you remember that?
I would say around maybe 84, 85. It's when I first went downtown to 59th Street Columbus Circle and was making money. We just played the radio and we just put a shoebox out there and let people come up to us and give us money. We didn't pass a hat. We didn't have a shtick. We didn't have nothing. We just thought that, hey, man, we just put our best moves out there. They're going to pay us because they're going to love us. And at the time, the dance was new, so we were stopping crowds without, if you just did the moonwalk, people stopped, So even police were watching us and paying us at the time. It was a new thing. And so we drew some pretty decent crowds, and people just came up and gave us money because they knew that, they can see that we were Latino, black, and we were not from down there. And plus, we were young. They were like, they're dope. They got some talent. Let's support them. So we got a lot of support from the people. As far as the check was concerned, my first check I got, like a real check, was in 1983 from a movie that I did called That's Dancing. It was an MGM movie with all the great dancers, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, Sammy Davis Jr. And so I was got a little spot in that movie in '83, and I got a check for that.
Yeah, you're helping me with the questions I'm going to ask you, because I really want, another question I was going to ask you is, have you had celebrities sort of check out your show? I guess you've obviously been a part of productions with other celebrities, but have you been doing a show and you kind of caught your eye and saw someone, giving you your
Tons,
flowers?
tons, tons of celebrities. I wish I had cameras at the time. I mean, we're going with I can say off the top of the head. Not only is he a celebrity, but I saw him probably about 3 months later, and he remembered me uh, from what I did. I used to do that thing on my back and bounce on my back, and that was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson watched us at the Marriott, And I remember he was eating this is around his prime. He was eating an ice cream. He had his little entourage with him, and he was watching us. And did our thing, and I did my thing in the back, and I bounced across the floor. And then, I think it was about 3 months later, we were at a club for some kind of a concert, hip hop concert. I don't remember what it was, but he was just. I came up to him and I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he immediately said, "You did. I remember you. You the guy that bounced on your back, man. That was so cool." That thing he remembered. I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool." So I guess I made a little impact with that move. He really liked that move. But we've met tons of celebrities. Some of the Jacksons We've met. I was face to face with Rodney Dangerfield at a show, a theater. We used to catch the theaters coming out for cigarette break. We'll do a show, and this was the time when I used to pass the hat around while the show was going on. This is before USA Breakdancers, and I'm passing the hat, and I hear a voice that sounds super familiar. That Rodney. Hey, what is it? You guys are better than the show inside. It was money, and I looked up, and he had that intense face that he usually has, and he's like, "I'm serious. You're better than the show inside." And he gave us money, and then everybody finished their cigarette break and went back in, and I was like, "Holy shit, look at that, man!" Rodney Dangerfield watched us. So yeah, we had a lot of celebrities. Muhammad Ali. Yeah, we had Muhammad Ali watch us twice, one in New York City and one in Washington D.C. Yeah.
Wow. When you're about to do a show, or even maybe just in your spare time, like how often would you put time into practice? Like how many hours a week would you say you and your other dancers would practice, whether it be the actual routines or the moves, or it just the comedy part of it? Because I mean, I'm just an outsider looking in, but I would think the comedy part of the show is just as important.
Yes. Well, that's one of the benefits of doing street shows is that you have an audience in front of you, and that's where you try your material. A lot of groups, like there's a ton of groups right now in New York City that are doing the same show, the same script, word for word, verbatim, just the same thing over and over again. Where I always, tried new material. Let's try this next week. Let's try that. I thought of this. I thought of that. And the best place to try material is in front of an audience. There are comedians and artists, singers, and poets that pay a lot of money to go to open mics, or buy a lot of alcohol just to be on an open mic, you know what I mean? So they could try their material. We have that out on the street. That's one of the benefits of street performing. People don't realize that they think it's just about making money, but it's also about having that audience so you can try new things and apply it in front of an audience. See how they react. If they don't like it, then you can just scratch it out. But yeah, that street performing is what that's about, just being in front of an audience as much as you possibly can.
How many countries have you had the opportunity to perform in? Have you kept track?
Nah, nah, I don't remember, but I know that. Yeah, I've been through 3 passports. I'm about to get the fourth one is here, and I already got it to get back into Canada this year. So I've been through 3 passports. We've been to
Wow.
Dubai. We've been to Dubai, I believe, about 5 times. Well, Abu Dhabi once and Dubai 4 times. Then there's France. I lived in France for a couple of years when I was doing a theater show. Uh, man, there's so many places. We've been out. We were even out in Lebanon. You know, we were out in Lebanon. So yeah, we everywhere. It's hard to name.
Where is your favorite place to perform? Would it be like just your home turf because that's special to you? That's where you're from. That's where you live, or is there a particular festival? I mean, other than Port Credit, of course, that you feel some sort of extra connection to?
Festivals and streets are a little bit different. Festivals are a little easier. The crowds are coming to see you. They know you're going to be there. You're not, when you work in the raw streets, New York City or any other city in the United States or around the world, you have to really build that crowd. There are some spots where they're like Boston Faneuil Hall, where they know they're going to see street performers, and it's easy to stop a crowd. kind of like doing a festival. But most of it is, my favorite festival. I don't have really a favorite. I do like Halifax. I like Halifax. One of the reasons is because they went 10 days. They're a long festival. Now they think they're doing 6 or 7 days. So and the audiences are really good, and they'll just keep coming back day after day and keep paying you day after day. They're well trained audience. They know busking very well, and they're very supportive. So that's pretty cool. So Halifax is one of my best. Ireland was really good because of the hats. My biggest hats were in Ireland. Uh, my biggest hat was a 3,200 euro hat at their festival. So big hats over there. And there was one over there in Australia. I forgot the name of that one. I only went once. With big hats over there as well. That's busking. Street shows. Our main pitch for USA Breakdance, how I created the show for USA Breakdance, was at the Baltimore Harbor. It wasn't New York City. New York City, the crowds are like this. You have to do quick shows. They're on the go. At the Baltimore Harbor, they're hanging out down there. They have an amphitheater. So we had a patient audience, kind of like we were doing a festival. And we were able to work on our show, build our show. But in street theater, busking, if you have a pitch and it's your pitch that you can go to every weekend or every day, you become that's very important because now you can build your show. You can work on material. If you don't have a pitch and you're sticking and moving, you'll never get a show together because you always have to adapt to every location you go to.
One question that I really have been wanting to ask you is, because you have been doing this obviously for a strong minute, is how have you seen the crowd sort of change or evolve with technology, like, people holding a phone now, and instead of enjoying you in the real HD,
Right,
did that create a roadblock, and then you kind of had to, make a joke about it or put them on the spot? Like, to me, I'm old school. When I go to a show, I know how to keep my phone in my pocket.
right,
I might take a quick picture to have that little memory, but for the most part, I watch the show. But I'm wondering, for you, you've done shows before cell phones, and then probably before the cell phone even had the camera on the cell phone. Like,
right.
how is it for you as a performer?
I never even paid attention to it like that. It's an audience. It's an audience. As long as there were people in front of us, that was it. Not everyone in the audience not everyone has their phone up, but there are people, a good amount of people. I'm kind of type of person that looks at the audience from when we're building. I'm already reading people even from when we're building because I'm looking for prospects, volunteers. I'm looking for people that are going to get into enthusiastic people. So before we even get into the show, I already know who's who and who's out there who I need to focus on. And so not everyone has phones, so I can pick from those people. But even with the people with the phones, I can mess around. I'm pretty all right with improv because I'm not afraid. Some people, they don't do any on the spot material or improv because they're afraid they're going to say uh, something wrong, something inappropriate, and that happens. But as a comedian, as a performer, you can't be afraid to try material because you won't be able to find material unique material. You'll just be doing all the stuff that everybody else is doing. So I just I just read the crowd, and I don't know if I have any cell phone jokes. I might get some new ones. It's been a while since I've done buskers. I've done some street shows, but it's been a while since I've done buskers and worked the mic and things like that. So I'm a little rusty. I don't know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say, but I'm probably going to get a couple of letters. Get a couple of letters this year. Who knows? But uh, one thing that's cool about being a street performer is that you can't get canceled. You just go to another spot, and you go ahead and learn from your mistake. If somebody gets upset at you in the audience, they get upset. You let them go, It's free speech most places. You can apologize all you can, and that's it. And then just don't make that mistake again as far as out there doing street shows. Because there are people with cameras, and they want to show those videos to their friends and family, and got to be careful what you say and do in front of them.
What do you think about if you just go like, do you ever have time where you're just sort of at home and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go on YouTube and just type in the USA Breakdancers, and you're seeing a whole bunch of clips of you and your crew from the fan perspective. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, I couldn't even imagine that feeling that you've done 1,000,005 shows, and maybe you're just kind of on YouTube even for not just for that reason. You're looking something else up, but you're like, all right, I'm curious, type in the USA Breakdancers, and you're just seeing your show from a fan's perspective. Like, what are your thoughts on that when you see that?
That's cool. I mean, I learned from that too, because there's some things that I see on there that I said, "Oh man, I can't believe I did that. I didn't really like, I didn't like what I did. I didn't like the way this went." So you kind of learn from watching your videos and from hearing the comments, what people have to say about it. Sometimes you get people that give you constructive criticism. Sometimes you got haters on there. So you get the real reactions on YouTube, where when you're out there on the street, you don't get those real reactions because people are not coming up to you live. I mean, they are shaking your hands and saying hi, but not everybody is doing that. So you may think you did a kick-ass show, and you really didn't. You may think you have a kick-ass show. You don't. You really don't. So when you see it on video and you hear the comments, you realize, okay, there's some things we need to work on, or or this was cool. We want to. I don't even remember doing that. We need to keep doing that. This is what the crowd reacted. So that kind of helps watching those videos.
The one thing that I've been sort of spoiled or blessed to be a part of is that I've been that in that room, in that green room, when I see you guys sometimes sort of preparing for that grand finale show where you have all the different performers that speak multiple different
Yeah,
languages, have millions of different talents, and sometimes it's not about the language. It's like each other's shows, each other's bits and
yeah.
everything, and I always just like to watch from an outside looking in of how you guys plan your shows because of that respect in that room. Like how does that feel during those times? It's just to me that's just so interesting to watch that process.
Yeah, those collaborations are cool when we all get together and do that little variety show, the final show or the fire show. And but a lot of street shows have the same structure. You got your build, warm ups. You got your interaction. You got the tricks, a few little tricks, and then you have your finale. And everybody knows each other's show. You know what I mean? They've watched it, but they know the structure too. So even if they've never seen my show, or I've never seen somebody else's show, and I'm the host, I'm an MC for the fire show or the MC for the final show. All you gotta do is say, "Hey man, you have any of your warm up tricks?" Because I know they have warm up tricks, right? So we only have this much. What can you do in your warm ups? Because you only have 2 minutes. Well, you have 5 minutes. So why don't you just do your finale? How long is your finale? We know the structure of each other's show. We know what we all have. We don't know exactly the details of what we're doing, but we know that you start the show with a build. You have a couple of warm ups. You have some interaction. You have in between that you have a bunch of little tricks, and then you have your finale. So it's easy to put together a big show, even if you haven't seen the acts.
What advice could you offer people that are, just getting into dance, whether it be breakdancing, whether it be choreographed? Well, breakdancing is choreographed at times, but like, what advice could you offer a dancer or someone that wants to be a dancer in some respect?
Yeah, it depends on what the dancer wants to do. If a dancer wants to be a breaker, they're passionate about being a breaker, then that's what they do. Later on, if that person is passionate about breaking, popping, voguing, crumping, ballet, tap, jazz, whatever they're passionate about, with time, if they're passionate about it, they're going to get work. It's going to happen. They may not go to the very top, but they're going to get work. And when they start to get work in the industry, they realize what they need to learn. They need to learn some choreography. They need to learn how to absorb things, learn things quickly, pick things up quickly. So that's a whole nother ball game. But it depends on how far they want to take it. So really, basically, you just have to love the crap out of it. And if you love it, there's no, you don't really have to say, oh, wow, I got to go practice. I got to go train. That if you're there, then you don't love it anymore. You're just doing it because you're making a pretty good living off of it. But if you're just at a gas station and you're moving, you're at home and you're moving, you're constantly moving, that's practice. Even if it's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, that's practice, that's passion. You're going to be really good at it. But if they want to take it into an industry, now you have to learn how to pick up choreography. You learn how to pick up. I was a little bit different because I was the rerun. I was the heavy guy. I started getting more work as a heavier dancer than a skinny dancer. When I was a skinny dancer, I had auditions with 1,000 skinny dancers. When I became heavy, it was me and somebody else or 3 other people. And that was typecast. So I didn't really have to. They knew my situation. I didn't have to pick up major choreography because they knew that we just want you for this special part. So I got lucky. I had a career like that, being a heavy guy that could move, that could unexpectedly move and had charisma and some skill mixed in there with that. So, but if you're going to be a dancer, it's a heavy competition. There's hundreds of other dancers just like you that train hard, that passionate. And so to be in the industry, you got to know a little bit of everything besides what you specialize in, whatever style that is.
So the Port Credit Busker Fest is coming up on August 16th, 17th, and 18th. What can people who have never been to a festival like Busker Fest, what can they expect from the USA Breakdancers? What can they expect from seeing your show? What advice could you offer someone attending to see your show?
So the first thing is that we're coming to you after Halifax, so all the rust will be gone. I, I expect a little bit of for the first day of Halifax to be a disaster because we haven't worked together in years. Minnie and Cuba are coming from New York. I'm here in Florida. So that first day, we are getting to Halifax, I think a day or two earlier. So we're going to see if we can go to the front, to the harbor, and do a couple of shows outside of the festival just to, you know, get those wheels rolling and remember the numbers and the music and the cues and all that stuff, so the show moves smoothly. So by the time we get to you guys, all the rust will be gone. We'll know the show. We'll have it. It'll be a smooth show. We're not going to try to take away. We're not going to try to change anything. We're going to try to keep it as classic as possible because that's the whole deal. Is we want to have a reunion and do the stuff that people fell in love with our group for, that material. So we're not going to change much. I mean, maybe me as an MC, I may have some things that come up, some jokes or some sarcasm or whatever it is. But besides that, it's going to be, we're going to bring back hopefully some memories. We're going to see kids that used to watch us with their kids now. And I'm sure that their kids seeing breakdancing and seeing that type of show for the first time, it's going to be amazing to them. And their parents are going to be like, oh man, I used to always watch these guys. They brought back memories. So I think that's what they can expect from us.
What else do you have planned for the summer?
Not
Like,
much, man, because I'm a hard-working citizen of the United States of America now. So I got to take time off of work to do these festivals. So we had 3, but 1 fell through. So now it's just Halifax and you guys. But we did have 3, and we don't know. We're not sure about the third one. I think that was in New Brunswick, St. John. So we don't know what's happening with that yet because they have some kind of insurance problem on it. So
uh, So how can people reach out to you? Share with everyone your website, social media. If people even want to book you or send you fan mail, how can they reach you?
Well, we're still on Facebook as USA Breakdancers. And then we have, then I have my Instagram right here. It's Boogie Down. I don't use it so much. That's why I have to look at it. It's Boogie Down Klown on Instagram. And, uh, and then that's pretty much it. Uh, yeah, so my Instagram and USA Breakdancers on Facebook. The website, we took it down because we weren't using it. So it's kind of it's parked for now. But
Fair.
yeah, Instagram and USA Breakdancers on Facebook. Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this with me. I can't wait to see you in person. I'm obviously a huge fan of yours. I'm a huge fan of your crew. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see you in person. You're just hearing your stories. I could sit beside you with a beverage and hear your stories for hours. So I
We'll have
really
a good
appreciate your
time to do
time.
it there. We'll hang out in Port Credit and have some good grub and some couple nice ice cold Canadian beers
For
and
sure.
chill out and talk some more.
Well, have a good time prepping for Halifax, and we look forward to you coming to Port Credit.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, my brother.
All right.
Excited
Thank you.
about it.
All right. Later.
All right, bye.